fostering sustainability, the indigenization and localization of African land-based casinos.
Amazing. Anyone that's out there, please come and take a seat for our amazing keynote. This is Nkopane Tshehla, the Managing Director of Larocure. Thank you very much.
Africa is an extraordinary young continent with a median age of 19. That is thanks to the decades of investment in human capital, developing our youth to get them educated, skilled, and highly motivated in contributing toward our economic emancipation and cultural transformation. Those are the words of His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto of Kenya. As if after he has spoken this, he has phoned Pretoria to speak to President of South Africa, President Ramaphosa. In a joint sitting of Parliament, President Ramaphosa says localization is vital in stimulating growth and transformation. It is about creating an enabling environment for inclusive growth, deepening the country in the industrialization base, and creating targeted transformation measures. Well, someone listened to the two presidents speaking. Mr. Naule Agubamila, it's a startup software developer from Nigeria, who said, we know that gaming will explode across the African continent. It is just as it did in the West, and that will actually take over the market of entertainment into a multi-billion-dollar generating industry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nkopane. Mine is to talk about land-based casino and how we sustain it going forward. First, I think it's important we go back in history to say where the land-based casino started. The casino was started back in Europe as a gambling house, which actually the Great Council of Venice in 1638 put together a system where people will come together into a controlled space for gambling activities. Over the centuries, the gaming house, or as we know it as a casino, it evolved to what we know now as a real casino. But for 386 years later, the casino is facing challenges. I'm talking about the land-based casino. But the question is why? But before we go on to the why it's facing the challenges, I just want to show you pictures of the casino that was there then as a gaming house. It was called a Ridotto Casino. This is how it looks. And I believe it still stands to this day. But then what was happening inside the casino then? A lot of activity, people gambling, people just dancing, socializing. You'll see in some, at the back, there are people also kind of looks like tables. People were actually playing tables then. There was a very good ambience, people dancing, socializing. But what we have now, we still have the same system, people gambling. We just added some few features into that space, and people still go for entertainment. What has changed? I don't know if anything has changed. The dress code, the entertainment, but what's important is that people go to a casino for socialization, which is very important. It puts people's esteem at high and get people going all the time. the evolution of land-based casino, we know that the casino slots as we know them now were actually developed in 1894 by a guy called Charles Fay. 46 years later on, we had John von Neumann, who created RNG as we know it now and as we use it now. And also the cabinet that we know now has evolved from a small and very heavy cabinet to something very fancy that we see at a casino. But then in the 90s, a challenge came. We had digital gambling coming in. The new millennium brought us online gambling. But one thing that remained, that casino is still a social hub. Now, what are the challenges that are facing us as land-based casino operators? Dwindling foot count, economic downturn, online gambling, government taxes, which we have less control over that, slow technological advancement, and inflexible regulatory space. I know the guys who are in the regulatory space will not agree with me on the inflexibility of the regulatory space. But I think the industry can actually lead the regulatory space so that it can change going forward. We are proposing a couple of countermeasures that we think can actually sustain the casino as we know it now. Investment in the R&D for the future, localization of casino technology, fostering local identity into technology, and harnessing corporate social investment and marketing initiatives into R&D. I'll expand further on the 4 points. Investing on the R&D for the future. Africa has got a youthful population. Currently, as we speak, in Africa in general, there's 716,000 registered gaming developers. They're operating, they're registered, but we don't know how many are operating without being registered. But there is that market out there. In 2019, at the advent of COVID, in South Africa alone, 24,600 developers were retrenched from their working space, which then says there's still a market. There are people who are out there who can still hold on the fort, but they're out there. It's a matter of what do we do as a casino industry to make sure that we utilize that skill. Partner with that skill, develop games and hardware that is local content that resonate with our individual countries. That on its own will make sure that people who are in that particular country develop what they know, what resonates with them, and take the casino gaming space forward. Localization in the casino space. We currently inherited a casino cabinet that is developed outside Africa. Is there a way that Africans can develop their own cabinet? There is a way. I want to believe there is a way. It's a question of giving the African developers, hardware developers, software developers, an opportunity and space to develop the hardware that goes into the casino. Over time, that development will take its own organic development, and it also has an economic impact on the locals. Therefore, the more we give them time, the more they'll develop more. What we are proposing is we'll have a prototype kind of cabinet that over the years will change in the very same way that it took us 130 years for the first slot to be developed to what we have now. This does not only go to the cabinet, but it also goes to the content, your jingle on the casino machine. We can make it Africanized. It sounds local. People want to hear what is local for them. In that way, people put identity onto that cabinet. What we have as a casino cabinet currently, we don't have anything that identifies with us. People who are from South Africa, I'm sure that when you see this picture, you know what this picture stands for. We all know where this is. Am I right, perhaps? South Africans? Yes. It's part of you. You resonate with it. For the benefit of those who are from outside Africa, this is what we call cradle of mankind. This is where the researchers say first humans stayed or lived in a cave somewhere there. So this is part of Africa. Something that always reminds us that we are locals. The picture on your right-hand side is a dragon. Dragons are not in Africa. They are from somewhere else. But what do we have in Africa? We've got elephants, things that we know, things that we associate with. Who will not know that picture? That's where we are. Once that picture comes out, we know that we are in South Africa. We are in Cape Town. So any content that perhaps associate ourselves with what we know will definitely resonate better with South Africans, or also with Africans. Now, we harness our corporate social investment into marketing. All casinos across the world, they do have a social impact. They have a way of trying to plow back to the community. But the question is, how do we then take whatever we're plowing back and utilize it to sustain the business? Our suggestion is that when we do our social investment activities, initiatives, let's use that as part of enterprise development. That will sustain the business going forward. That will keep people coming into the casino. Yes, we are aware that we do have the online gambling. Casinos are also venturing into that space. But also the social impact, that social hub that people go for when they visit a casino remains. If we don't invest in our own games of trade or tools of trade, we're definitely going to lose that social hub or that social interaction that a casino creates. Now, what's the future hold for us? Our submission is that there's an organic growth, economic growth that comes with all the developments and the strategies that we are proposing. There will be, over time, a great strengthening development of the software and the hardware in the casino space. There will be that sense of identity, sense of belonging for everyone who is involved in the development of that casino environment. Besides, and on top of that, language development. I had commentators yesterday, even today, arguing the point that language, it can be a barrier in the sense that there are many languages across Africa. Indeed. But at the same time, how do we develop those languages? There are certain languages that identify us, either as a region or as a country. For example, in the eastern side of Africa, we've got Swahili, which is spoken by many countries. A language can be developed to a casino space using Swahili or any other language that is commonly understood across a country or across a region. In that way, for all regulators, they will be comfortable to understand that there is an integrated development and therefore a deliberate action in terms of decision-making in growing and sustaining the casino industry will be there and will make sure that everyone sustains that industry. Casino is part of tourism. What we have is a packaging of casino outside tourism, sometimes leave a lot in terms of sustaining the jobs in the tourism space. So you combine the tourism space together with the job and stable jobs that will be created by development of different products that are localized, that will actually create jobs for the future and sustain those jobs. I want to leave with a quote from Mike Pompeo, who says, think about the future in an unconventional way. All I'm saying, I'm saying, let's think outside the box, let's look at what we have and harness what we have and make sure that we sustain the casino as we know it and keep the jobs going in the casino industry. I thank you.